One last email. My son's girlfriend asked who she was voting for. When responded Trump, she had a meltdown saying he doesn't care about her or her body's rights. They broke up. Trump 2024.
Hell yeah.
Hey, everybody. It's Rich coming to you here with Leaving MAGA, leavingmaga.org on the MeidasTouch Network. So we have a brand new series of videos that we are going to be doing for you guys here. We are going to be talking to friends and family of those who are in the thrall of MAGA. I put out a message recently on our socials asking, hey, if anyone's got friends or family in MAGA and this movement has just torn apart your relationships with them, I want to hear from you. I want to give voice to you. And we were completely overwhelmed at Leaving MAGA with all of the messages who came in. So we've got someone we're going to speak to today who very courageously reached out to us and said, yes, I want to give a testimonial. Before we get to her, I just want to make a quick comment here because I know we've been on a bit of a sabbatical. I was a co-chair for Republicans for Harris here in Florida. I'm sorry that we didn't get the outcome that many of us wanted. I just feel the need to tell everyone that our team, we left it all on the field. And even though we didn't get the result that we all worked so hard for and hoped for, Leaving MAGA and MeidasTouch Network are not going to stop. We are going to continue to work more than ever. And we're going to make sure that we keep telling the stories also of those who leave MAGA, because even though Trump did win re-election, there are still people coming to us who are leaving MAGA. But today, this is our first time speaking with someone who is a friend of somebody who is in MAGA. Her name is Alison Bono. She's out in California. I want to bring her in here right now. Alison, thank you so much for being here. I know that this is probably going to be a bit difficult because your friend Lori, you and she, have known each other for 3 decades. I know when we spoke about that, you mentioned that. Tell us about the relationship that you've had with her, a little bit about yourself, herself, and what your friendship was like before MAGA came into the picture.
So I lived in Colorado for a number of years, and I was getting divorced, and I moved into an apartment complex, and I met Lori in the laundry room. We both had kids, and we, it was kind of just nice to meet somebody. She was very close to me. I've known her and her son, since he was little. And so we just built a friendship from there. And when we moved to another area of the Denver suburbs, we still stayed in touch. We would do a lot of things. We didn't have a lot of money because we were both single moms. And where we'd cook stuff on the weekend and get together, and we would watch each other's kids if we wanted to go out, and just stuff like that, where, it was a big day for us when we could all get together. We had enough money to go to Chili's, and have appetizers or whatever. So I've known her for almost 30 years. And I've always known she's a conservative Christian, which is, I have absolutely no problem with that. I come from a background as well of being a Republican background. I did not change parties until Obama. And but otherwise, we never really had a problem with politics or anything like that. And we've been able to maintain this friendship with her moving to Oregon and New Mexico, and me moving back to California. And I actually just saw her last month for the balloon festival. And everything was fine. Even the first time she voted for Trump, it was fine. Nobody knew what he was going to do. And then the second time, it was like then the insurrection. And she had said, after that, I'm not voting for him again. I'm not voting for him again. So like even my dad, who's also a Trump supporter, said, after the insurrection, they would not support that again. And to me, that seemed reasonable. I was really hoping they would put up a conservative candidate. That wasn't him. But seeing what he did during COVID and the insurrection, and then all the court and the convictions and the sexual assault, and like after a certain point in time, you've got to say that's way too much. I mean, it's one thing to be a change candidate or whatever, and have all these far out ideas that, really didn't sound great to me, but I understand why people, the status quo isn't working for a lot of people. I get that. But I unfriended her after the election. She outed herself. I just said, if you're a Trump supporter, I just don't want to be friends. And so a couple of people that were on my social media, they came out and said that they voted for it. And I'm like, okay, well, bye. And they got really angry with me, which I can kind of understand, except it turned into an attack on me, that they chose policy over personality. And I haven't responded to any of these because there's no policy there. You did vote for personality. You voted for a loud, racist rapist who has no policy. We're coming up with a replacement for the ACA, or we're going to deport 15 million people. These aren't policies. These are just statements, and there's no groundwork or pathway, I think, for any of these things to happen. So that's just mine. But so yeah, I was accused of being unstable, mentally unstable, that I need to find God. And it really hurt. I mean, Lori is a very kind, loving person. She's generous. She's intelligent. There's so many things that are great about her as a human being. And I don't understand how she fell for it. And it's really hard for me.
I think though that, and thank you for sharing that, Alison, because you're touching on several points that we're going to really look to address in these videos that we're going to be doing, in these testimonials of friends of family of those in MAGA. You're saying how you came from a Republican background. She came from a conservative Christian background. Before Trump and MAGA, I don't really remember ever hearing of instances where people of differing political beliefs and different ideological beliefs even talked about their political leanings. I'm not even talking about let's have a debate about what idea is better than another, but all of a sudden, and I think it was a gradually and then suddenly all at once, there was this shift. And what happened is we started to see people whom we met in circumstances like you're saying. You met in a laundry room, you struck up this friendship, which really, it sounds like a close family member, right? When you think about when you hear close friendships, it sounds like a close familial tie. But then all of a sudden, you like you just said, all of a sudden she is not truthful with you. And it never happened before that I remember where there were these kinds of examples where long-time relationships just all of a sudden started to abruptly change. And I've noticed in a lot of conversations in speaking with people about their relationships changing for the worse, that they feel like, and by they, I mean the friends and family, they feel like they didn't come to recognize anymore the people whom they had known. So I'm wondering with you and Lori, were there some specific moments that for you where you saw them, you observed them, and you thought, okay, I don't understand this. Why is this happening? This doesn't sound like her. Anything like that you recall happening that started to make you think, I'm not sure about this?
Recently I've gone to visit her a couple of times in where she lives, and I'm not going to shout that out. But she was asking me, or she's very anti-abortion, which is a big thing for the MAGA people, right? But they don't understand the full context of what is an abortion, is what I'm finding out, or what I found out, because I had a pregnancy that ended when I was 7 months pregnant, and I had to have my labor induced and all that kind of stuff. My son was dead, and that's considered an abortion. It's healthcare. And she didn't recognize that. She didn't understand that that is also considered an abortion. So it should be called something else. And, that all these places and people are committing infanticide, and it's not happening. And some of this stuff that's so far-fetched that it's like, where's the common sense there? Why aren't you seeing that this really isn't happening, but you want to believe it for whatever reason? And that, I think, is the biggest disconnect, because I'm using the abortion issue as one thing, but there are other things that she has said. But then she turns around, and where she lives, there's a Native American community, and she's always trying to help the Native American community, not realizing that what she says about some other ethnic groups, can apply to that as well. So everything is so outlandish. I want to shake my head. It's really hard to combat.
I think that this is another point, though, that comes up a lot in our Leaving MAGA videos and the testimonials, which is that when I was in MAGA, and it took me a year to leave. And one of the reasons it took me so long was that MAGA is a community. And I have no doubt that Lori found a community there. And another reason that it took me so long is because my epiphany was such that I came to this realization that it wasn't that I was just wrong about one or two beliefs. I was wrong about years worth of beliefs that I had adhered to devoutly. And I say it because it's not that I am defending my or anyone else's ignorance, but I think what's very important in trying to understand why people remain in MAGA, it's all of us are susceptible to being influenced. When you talk about absurd and outlandish, when I gave I did a video, a vignette at the DNC, it aired on night one. And what I said in there is that Trump's toxic superpower is lying. That's the toxic superpower of Trump, of the Republican Party. I thought it would be enough. I thought that those lies, despite their effectiveness, would not be enough in this election for them. I was wrong about that. They were enough. But I do think that it's important that people out there, as I emphasize this and reiterate it all the time, it's a lot easier to get inculcated into this illogical, contradictory right-wing world, right? Where you're pointing out and thinking, someone believed X at one time, and then all of a sudden they come to believe Y. What happened in between? And what really happened in between was just misinformation, disinformation, and lying. Now, you said also that I wanted to make mention of this as well. You had said when we had a conversation that you were willing to share this video once we've produced it and edited it and we get it up for which will be at MeidasTouch Network online, that you're willing to share this with Lori. And what I want to ask you is, because I think that all the people we're going to speak to, they just want back their friendships and their kinships and their familial relationships. They just want them back. It's not about becoming a Democrat or a liberal or a progressive. They just want their relationships to be restored to what they were like before Trump and MAGA came along. So when you show this video to her, here's something I wanted to ask you. If you have a chance to speak with her, she sees this, you ask her, please, are you willing to look at this? Are you willing to watch it? And if so, I'd like to talk to you after. What would you like to say to her? What would you like to mention to her as someone you've known for a significant part of your life, and say, Lori, look, this is what I want. Tell us what you might say to her after she gets a chance, hopefully that she agrees to watch this.
So what I would say is that she's such a nice and kind person, and that she's got such a good heart that it's hard. I want her to find that good heart again. You can't be capable of all these heinous things that he says and does, and the way, the way she is just, she's just a nice person, and I miss her. I'm sad that she's decided that that's the path she wants to take.
Well, I just want to thank you again for coming on here, telling this story. I know that it takes a lot of bravery to do this. It's hard to talk about it. I think that you also bring up a really good point that I mention all the time in our Leaving MAGA works and in the videos we produce, which is that it's really important to try to not give up on people. And, you know, you mentioned before about the tension and how it made it hard to continue this relationship. You know, I blame MAGA and Trump for that, you know, and I'm sorry. I continue to say this, that I am sorry that I helped Trump tear asunder relationships. You know, to some extent, I feel responsible actually for everything, Alison, that you're saying today with you and Lori and your friendship and what happened with it. I would ask that people not give up, because you're saying she's a nice person, a kind person. I am very confident in saying that that goodness is still in there, in that she still has that. And I hope that she is actually willing to watch this video, because I want her to know, just as I know that you want her to know, that you still care about her, and that just as it was before Trump and MAGA, politics don't have to get in the way of this friendship that you have. So I just want to thank you for having, just being intrepid, coming on here, being willing to share this story. I always like to say that at the end of my videos here, I'm rich and I left MAGA. I'm happy to say, Alison, that you don't need to say that, because you were never in the MAGA community, and I feel like those who oppose Trump and MAGA from the outset, that you deserve more credit. And I would ask you also, after you share the video, you know, reconsider reaching back out to her. We've got a book at our site, leavingmaga.org. At the end of that book, there's a blueprint. There's a little bit of a how-to. So I'm going to share that with you. I think it can help also rekindle this relationship. Any parting thoughts that you'd like to say about Lori? Give us another little anecdotal, maybe a little quick story or something about her that you feel like audience members should really know about her as a person.
She's actually really adventurous, but she doesn't like to do things by herself. And so whenever we get together or whatever, we end up having a really good time, because we do things that she wouldn't want to do alone. And I get that. Nobody wants to do things alone all the time. So, but we go all kinds of crazy places and do new things. And her 50th birthday at the Bellagio is something that's going to stay in Vegas. But I mean, she's just a really fun person, and I love her. And I'm really very hurt and dismayed that this is like I said, the path she's on right now.
I could see how your body language, you're talking about the Bellagio birthday, and you know, your body language changed, and it was like I could see you having the positive, really loving, fun memories were conjured. I know that we can restore that. I know that we can get that back. It's why we're doing these videos. It's why we do the work at Leaving MAGA. I just want to thank you again, Alison, for coming on. I'm looking forward to when this posts, and I'm looking forward to when you get it and sharing it with Lori. I will make sure after you do that we update our audiences on what happened. So I just want to thank you again for being with us today. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Rich. Thanks for having me.
It's my pleasure. Thank you. Hey, everyone, if you like this video, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any updates from Leaving MAGA on the MeidasTouch Network. If you know anyone who's left MAGA, if you've left MAGA, if you're a friend or family of someone who's in MAGA, we want to hear from you to do these testimonials and give you voice. Be sure to connect with us at leavingmaga.org. As always, thanks for watching. See you guys soon.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.